Simply put, this is the most interesting watch I own, at least from a technical standpoint. And you could also say that it's maybe the most unique watch period available today because of how it actually works, right? Because of what goes into this movement is unlike anything else out there from any other manufacturer. Let's get into it. Recreating the stunning visual impact of the original open dial design with the exact same signature green accents, the Accutron La Palina Spaceview 2020 boasts a brown open-work dial with signature Accutron green accents and brown outer ring, light green superluminous markers, hour and minute hands, and warm yellow second hand, finished with a matching genuine brown alligator strap. The movement is an NS30 electrostatic, Accutron's proprietary electrostatic movement. The electrostatic energy is created by twin turbines that rotate as a result of human motion at incredible speeds between two electrodes affixed to the movement. The energy, stored in an accumulator, powers two motors, the world's first electrostatic motor fueling the fluid second hand and a step motor powering the hour and minute hands. The movement has a built-in power-saving function. To ensure power saving, the second hand automatically stops at 12 o'clock after 5 minutes of non-activity. Your timepiece continues to keep time. The hour hand and the minute hand keep moving. When you would like to see the second hand's motion, please swing arm fully up and down for 3 to 5 seconds. Once powered, the second hand gradually returns to the current second indication and the power save function is canceled. The La Palina watch dial is a brown open-work dial with signature Accutron green accents and brown outer ring, light green superluminous markers, white hour and minute hands, and a warm yellow second hand. The La Palina watch case is a stainless steel case and bezel with stamped Accutron logo and turbine design along with La Palina branding numbered to 222 pieces on the case back. It has a 43.5 millimeter case diameter and a 15.91 millimeter case height with a 22 millimeter lug width and a lug distance of 49.5 millimeters lug to lug. Every time I open the watch box, I'm immensely pleased because I'm very happy with the collection I've assembled. And it begins with something as utilitarian as my Citizen ProMaster, right? A true tool watch. I use it swimming, I use it on vacations, I beat it up a bit, and no worries. It's got pretty much an all-brush case and it serves its purpose. And then I have a number of dress watches because that tends to be the style that I prefer most, right? It's generally what always has been traditionally the number of watches I have the most of at any particular time. I just love dress watches. To me, it's kind of like their original purpose, right? Of course, I've got watches that have some very unique complications in them, like the Seiko Bellmatic. And then I have watches that are just truly beautiful, essentially works of art, like this Rado Captain Cook, because, I mean, this is a dive watch, but I've never taken it diving, and I probably never will because of how absolutely beautiful and stunning it is with a very high polished case. But then when I get to the watch I'm talking about today, classifying it becomes very difficult, okay? It's a challenge. You can't really. I didn't even think about what it might be classified as until after owning it for a while, and then looking at it one day and being like, what would you call this watch? What category does it fall in? When you're talking about a Accutron Spaceview La Palina. So when I was trying to actually figure out where would you classify this watch, because it doesn't really fit the definition of any of the traditional watch categories. I mean, it's not a dive watch. It's only got 50 meters of water resistance, not to mention it's a electronic type movement. You don't really want to get it near water. It's not a tool watch by any sense of the term because it's got these high polished surfaces, exceptional finishing, unlike you'd see on any sort of tool watch. It's definitely not a dress watch because, I mean, it's got significant presence on wrist. This is not slipping under your average cuff, especially if it's, you know, a shirt that's been tailored to you. So what is it? And the only thing I can really come up with is a term I guess I kind of coined, which is a hyperwatch, which harkens back to the days of supercars. That's where I kind of stole the term from, where you used to have the hypercar. And that was referring to a time when certain car manufacturers released specific models that were really only meant to show what they could do, what they're capable of. The idea wasn't to sell them to the general public, so to speak. It was to show you what we can do if we really want to with absolutely no budget in mind. And the first one that comes to mind for me is the Porsche 959. That was kind of like in the beginning of the hypercar days, where Porsche created a vehicle that essentially was only meant to be driven on a track, like on a racetrack. Sure, they were street legal, but that wasn't really their intention. In fact, you needed to have a racer's license in order to buy one originally. That's how extreme these cars were. And the reason Porsche did it was because at that time, people were starting to kind of look past Porsche to some of the Italian car manufacturers because they were producing some of the best sort of high-performance supercars of the day. And Porsche was like, wait a minute, if we really want to, we can blow them out of the water. And that's what they did with the 959. And that's kind of where I see this, right? There is no other watch out there remotely close to what this has. Not even close, right? The movement that's in this watch is unlike anything else in any other watch created by any other company. And at its price point, which is substantial, right? This has an MSRP of almost $7,000 Canadian, although they don't sell for that. They really don't. I've seen them for just under $5,000 new from dealers here in Canada, and I've seen them just over $4,000 on like Chrono 24. So that's really the market for them. MSRPs are MSRPs. Sometimes they're bang on, sometimes they're way off. But either way, you're talking about a substantial investment for a watch like this, but at that particular price point, you're getting more than what the majority of competitors offer at the same price point. Right? If you look at just, let's not even look at the MSRP, let's just look at, say, $5,000. At $5,000, there are a number of watches from very well-known manufacturers that you can buy that are considered premium models that don't come close to the amount of R&D that was required to create a watch like this. And I'm talking about watches from like Grand Seiko, watches from Tudor, right, and the like. In and around that $5,000, $6,000 price point, what they offer you is essentially a pretty basic watch with a very generally good movement, but nothing that compares to what went into this. So this, to me, is Accutron because they separated themselves from Bulova, became their own entity, similar to how Grand Seiko separated itself from Seiko to produce just a high-end product. This was Accutron showing the world what's to come, what we can do. This is what we're capable of, and you better take notice. So let's get into some more details about the Accutron Spaceview La Palina, the special edition model I decided to go with. Any discussion of the Accutron Spaceview released in 2020 begins with the development of the NS30 movement. It took 5 years to develop this electrostatic movement in cooperation with Miyota because, of course, Accutron is a member of the Citizen Group, and leaning on the technical know-how of Miyota made complete sense. The movement's got 28 jewels, and this particular model has a push-pull crown, and the crown is only used to adjust the time. The time is accurate to plus or minus 5 seconds per month, so it's rare that you actually have to adjust it. I haven't had to yet, and I've had this watch for over a month. The movement has that power-saving feature I had mentioned earlier, where after 5 minutes of inactivity, the movement stops the second hand and goes into a power-saving mode because it's the second hand, that constant sweep, that uses the most power. After 10 days of inactivity, nothing moves. the watch goes into a complete sleep mode, but doesn't actually turn off. Now, I've never tested this feature because since acquiring this watch, I've never let it go 10 days without actually wearing it, or at least picking up and admiring it a few times. So maybe someday I'll put it aside for 10 days to see what happens when I do that. I'll share it as a post on social media. Now, if you were to actually leave this watch for 2 full years of inactivity, the capacitor would completely expire and would have to be replaced. Unlikely that's to happen. It won't happen with me, but that's something to keep in mind. Watch comes with a 5-year warranty, which is pretty impressive and a little bit better than standard these days. So purchasing a watch like this can be done with complete confidence when you realize you're not just dealing with Accutron, you're dealing with Citizen, one of the largest watch manufacturers in the world. I wanted to close out this video talking a little bit about the wearing experience of this watch because it's truly special. It really is. And it's special in a way that I can't fully describe, I can't explain, and that just makes it all the more so. Because when I'm wearing a watch out and about like I do every single day, I'm going to check the time more often than I probably should. And sometimes I'm just looking down to catch the watch in the right light on a, say, sunny day like this where it goes in and out of overcast and sun. I've taken Noble with me today. He might be a little antsy because I wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Here you go, buddy. But this watch, when I look down at it, I don't just see a watch, right? This is the experience I was hoping to have when I first tried a smartwatch, and I got the exact opposite. I was hoping that when I purchased a smartwatch, I'd look down, I'd get that same sort of sensation or nostalgia from wearing a watch, but then see a little bit more, and that wasn't the case. I actually saw less. It was less impressive to me. But this particular watch, every time I glance down at it, it transfixes me. It keeps me looking at it a little bit longer than normal because it's so impressive. It's so hard to understand how something as simple as a 3-hander that tells the time can be this absolutely complicated and impressive. And I get the same sort of impression from other watch enthusiasts when they see it as well. There are a lot of watches that can make someone go, wow, that's a beautiful watch. And we know them all. But there are very few watches that have watch enthusiasts asking, how does that work? It just stuns them and grabs their attention. Because like I said before, and a few times in this video, there's nothing else like it. Until next time, like and subscribe. If you haven't yet, follow the channel, right? We're doing our best to grow it. And when we hit 5,000 subscribers, we're doing a giveaway, a watch giveaway. And whether you're into men's watches or women's watches, we've got one for both of you. There you go. Oh, you kicked it back. Here you go, buddy.